Hi ladies, my fellow breasty sisters. I've been thinking about this video for a long time and I finally have enough dry shampoo in my hair to feel presentable enough on camera to record it. So let's dive right in. I am suffering from breast implant illness, and like many of you, I had all these bizarre symptoms that just didn't add up. And over the years, because I couldn't get a diagnosis and I was just looked at like I was crazy and I was just getting older and I just needed to deal with it, I resorted to trying a lot of different things and going to a lot of different specialists and having a lot of different tests done that, of course, always came back normal. But during those years, especially, I'd say in the past 3 years, I have finally come across some things that really, really helped me. Now, quick disclaimer, I'm not a doctor, I'm not giving you medical advice, I'm simply sharing with you things that have worked for me, and perhaps you want to try them. Of course, if you do decide to try them, please do your own research and pay attention to your body. What works for me may not work for you. So first things first, let's start with skin, okay? One of the first symptoms I began experiencing was very, very dry skin. And on my legs particularly, it felt like bugs were crawling underneath. And it was just really itchy and really dry. That has since somewhat subsided. They're still pretty dry, but they're not bothering me and, like creepy crawly feeling anymore. But as that began clearing up, it moved to my face, and my skin was so dry and it was like thick, like it just wouldn't exfoliate on its own. And I had tried every moisturizer you can imagine. Nothing was working. I tried different exfoliants and it would just come right back. So what I finally used that worked amazingly is this. And I found this on a blog where it was talking about the top products recommended by beauty, people in the industry. So makeup artists and, dermatologists and things like that. But it's this stuff right here. And now it might be backwards, but I'll leave a link for it below. Now, I've been using this for about a year. This is only my second bottle of cleanser, and this is still my first container of moisturizer. So it lasts a really long time. It's not cheap, but it's not super expensive. And quite honestly, when you look at how long it will last you, worth it. So I use the CeraVe moisturizing cream for normal to dry skin. And I use the CeraVe Hydrating Facial Moisturizer for normal to dry skin. Within a few days of using this, my skin was so soft and it felt so wonderful. One thing I have not tried consistently yet, which I would like to, is to begin using the moisturizer on my legs and other parts of my body. I'm just lazy, but I have a feeling that it would work really well. The facial cleanser is like a light cream. It does not bubble up or foam in any way. I bet you it would work fantastic with a Clairsonic. It takes off makeup with ease. Even eye makeup, even waterproof eye makeup. I absolutely love it. So I can't say enough good things about that. The next thing I'm going to talk about is something that I just started using maybe a month and a half ago. And this has been life-changing. So I am going to leave a link below to the video where I learned about it. And basically, a gentleman had rheumatoid arthritis. His insurance was no longer covering the very expensive but very effective prescription that he was taking. And because of that, he went looking for alternatives that he could afford. And what he came across was Moringa. This is the brand I use. I think it's great. It's worked wonderfully. I'm sure there are other wonderful brands out there. I want to say the gentleman who put out the YouTube video that I watched actually uses a different brand. So I started taking it because of the joint and the bone pain. And within a week, it was gone. Completely gone. I was no longer hunching and hobbling to the bathroom every morning like I was 80 years old. My feet didn't feel like they were breaking with every step. I still have a little bit of... No, it's gone. I haven't checked in a while. It's totally gone now. I had some lingering bone pain in my right foot, which is where it started and where it was always the most severe, but it's gone, completely gone. The inflammation in my joints is non-existent. It is a miracle. So some other cool things that happened with Moringa that I was not expecting is about a week and a half after I began using it, I noticed I hadn't really been bloated lately. Now, I'm like a lot of you other ladies. I just randomly would bloat up. I would look like I was 6 months pregnant. It was very painful, and it didn't matter what I ate. It really didn't. Some days I didn't eat anything at all, and I was just huge and uncomfortable, and it made my life hell. No more bloating. Now that about a month and a half has gone by, I think I've experienced bloating maybe 2 or 3 times. And when I do, I take some Moringa and then it goes away. So it doesn't last as long. Lost my train of thought there for a minute. Here I am. The next thing I'm going to talk to you about is something I take for brain fog. How ironic is that? Anyway, let me get to the stuff that I didn't know about. The other thing I noticed that it did, it makes my nails grow like weeds. And then the other thing that happens, I started developing oils in my face again for the first time in probably like 5 years. So I would get like a little greasy here and a little greasy here. And that's awesome. I have to say the downside is you can see my pores again, and the dry skin. That was the one great thing about having dry skin. It was little itty bitty pores. Well, these babies are back and they're screaming, but whatever. I have moisture in my skin and I feel good, and this stuff is great. So let me tell you how I take it. The guy whose video I watched, he puts them in capsules and he takes it that way. He takes about a tablespoon a day. I also take about a tablespoon a day. I don't put it in capsules though. I take enough vitamins and stuff I don't need to swallow anymore. What I do is I have a cup of matcha every morning and I put a heaping teaspoonful in my matcha. It's undetectable because they both kind of taste like grass and dirt anyway. And then at night I'll just have this in a cup of tea. And the cup of tea is usually herbal tea, something with a strong flavor like a lemon ginger, or I really enjoy Bengal Spice by Celestial Seasonings. It's cinnamon and maybe cloves. You know, it's very spicy and warm, and it's great during the fall. You won't even taste it. Put it in a smoothie, it's another story. It tastes like dirt. It's disgusting. You could try it if you want to, but I don't recommend it. So yeah, this stuff is bomb. The next thing, and you probably see me comment this on a ton of posts, this stuff changed my life. I had really severe chronic fatigue. And years ago, what I noticed was I was taking Chantix to quit smoking. And during that time, before my husband was like, you need to get off this stuff because, you know, I want to kill you. You're like manic and crazy. But I loved it. I was like high as a kite and I didn't need any sleep and I was driving everyone crazy and I was a nag. But I liked it because normally I'm just like sitting around like, oh, you know, can I go to bed yet? So I looked into Chantix and how it actually works. And what it does is it increases dopamine. Then I looked into dopamine deficiency and I was like, that sounds like me. So I don't doubt that breast implants can affect, you know, your chemistry and, you know, just everything. It just makes you a big hot mess. So this stuff, what it is the precursor to dopamine, epinephrine, and norepinephrine. So if you have anxiety, all right, you could try it, but I'm going to let you know it may raise your epinephrine and your norepinephrine, in which case it may make you a little bit more jittery and a little bit more anxious. Then don't take it. But it really does help with mood, motivation, joy. Like if you're feeling depressed, it works great. Chronic fatigue, it's just, I love it. And that is L-tyrosine. Now, I take 500 milligrams in the morning. I don't take it every day because I don't need it anymore. But those days where I'm just kind of dragging, maybe I'm PMSing and I'm just like, I just hate my life and just want to kill myself. And, taking L-tyrosine, and next thing you know, I'm like, hey, let's go for a walk. Let's go to the mall. Let's do something. I'm happy. I feel good. Now, when I first started taking it, there was a couple of reasons why I did. One was to raise my dopamine, but also I had suspected that I had a thyroid problem for years, and it was undiagnosed, and I couldn't get anyone to listen to me. Finally, it took an ultrasound, and the ultrasound showed that, hey, she was right all along. Look at that. It's inflammation. It's scar tissue. It's a nodule. But, my blood work was always in range, and so they just wouldn't listen. Tyrosine, if you take tyrosine and iodine, put it together, bam, what do you got? You have thyroid hormone. So it also really helps with thyroid function. I even take it with iodine. Now, when I first started taking L-tyrosine, I read a lot about it, and they talked about keeping your balance between dopamine and serotonin. So I would take 500 milligrams of L-tyrosine in the morning because it does have somewhat of a stimulatory effect. And then at night, I would take 50 milligrams of 5-HTP. And it's supposed to be a 10-to-1 ratio. And 5-HTP is for serotonin. And it helps you kind of relax and unwind and go to sleep and tone down the effects of the L-tyrosine. Well, I had gotten pregnant. The L-tyrosine I was able to continue during my pregnancy. The 5-HTP I had to stop. And I have to be honest, now that I have a little one, I don't have problems falling asleep. And the first week or so of taking 5-HTP, you are going to have some crazy, intense, realistic dreams. I don't really want to do that again, and I'm good without it. And plus, I have the baby, but I might consider that again in the future if I feel it would be beneficial. The other thing I did for the thyroid issue, especially when no one would diagnose me and no one would listen to me, I decided to take things into my own hands, and I went to the vitamin shop and I purchased this. And this is called Raw Thyroid, and it's by Natural Sources. You can't buy it on Amazon. I don't know why. They do have other products under this name, but they do not have this particular product. Go figure. Amazon has everything. I saw a tremendous difference in that. I started taking it, and I would say the first 3 months I lost 20 pounds. I had energy. I was also taking the L-tyrosine and the 5-HTP and the iodine. Oh, and also selenium. If you have a thyroid problem, take selenium. It just, it supports it. So those together, that combination, I lost weight, the inflammation just went away, and then I got pregnant, which I think for a long time I was infertile and did not know it because of my hormones and my thyroid and everything like that, thanks to these. The downside to this product is that it is an all-natural product, and because of that, it's not really regulated. So the success I had gotten with like 1 or 2 bottles, all of a sudden I was getting another one, and it didn't really feel like I was taking anything. And I spoke to Pippa. You may be familiar with that name. She's the one that does the hair strand analysis and is recommended through the Facebook group. Absolutely wonderful. If you haven't had it done, have it done. She is just, she gives great advice. And she suggested a product called Thyrovans. THYROVANZ. They even have a Facebook page if you want to go on there and join, a Facebook group and get information and learn about the product. It does come from, I think, Argentina and New Zealand. If you are going to buy it, go for the one in New Zealand. It seems to be a lot better, but it's much more regulated. And from what I hear, it's a superior product to this. You'll likely find a lot more consistency. I'm not taking either of those right now. I never took Thyrovans. I finally found a doctor that would listen to me, and she put me on Armor. So that's where I am with that. So last but not least, L-tyrosine, 5-HTP, things like that. Those are in a category called nootropics. I really studied those quite a bit, and I found ones that work very well for me when it comes to brain fog, when it comes to fatigue, when it comes to mood. And I really suggest you look into those things. There are some great videos on YouTube. There's some wonderful websites and places that you could look for information on that. And, in the meantime, just doing the best with what you have, just trying to make it. And another thing, I made a little list here. I just want to make sure I'm saying everything. The very last thing that I did that really helped with a lot of the brain fog, I downloaded a lot of puzzle games on my phone, and I spend some time doing them every day. Now, the one that I use right now is called Puzzle Page. The reason why I like it is because it has word puzzles and number puzzles and pattern puzzles. So you're working different parts of your brain, and it just helps keep you sharp, And I noticed that I was having better verbal fluency, and I was retaining things, and I wasn't forgetting and tripping on words as much when I started playing those games regularly. I also found an advantage to doing a variety of games versus just, say, Sudoku, which is what I did for a long time, or word search, or, whatever. If you do just one style, you're not really taking advantage of that plasticity that we have. You really want to work your brain from every angle and keep it sharp. And that's advice forever. My grandmother, who's 91 and sharp as a tack, well, sort of, sharp for a 91-year-old. She tells me she does word searches and different things all the time. I really saw a decline in my other grandmother when she stopped doing crossword puzzles because she couldn't, the arthritis in her hand, she couldn't write it down anymore. And she was just too stubborn to learn how to use a computer or a tablet. So we owe it to ourselves to do that. I mean, that's why you used to retain so much when you were younger in schools, because you were always working that muscle. Your brain is a muscle, work it. So, ladies, I hope some of these tips were helpful to you. If they were, leave a comment below, like the video, share it. And also, if you've used some things that have proven really beneficial to you, please share them. I'd love to hear what you did and why you did it. And maybe we could just get some more information out there for the ladies that can't afford Implant and are just so tired of spending all this money on all these supplements that didn't work. So, ladies, here's to healthy living, and I hope you feel wonderful, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Talk to you soon.